What's up YouTube? Today's video is going to be about are recombinators broken? I found out this topic pretty much because I saw this pair of gloves on Reddit and it kind of just blew me away, right? So this pair of gloves is so crazy. Let's go look at it real fast. And there have been a lot of posts about these crazy items that pretty much everyone is able to make with recombinators. And it really got me thinking because a lot of the topics, when you read the comments, everyone is always complaining about how broken they are, how Harvest was not as strong as Recombinators, and how a lot of people actually do enjoy the Recombinators, but I don't think it's actually loading. But as you can see here, these are the Recombinators you use, and this is the pair of gloves in question. This pair of gloves is +2 level of socketed supported projectile gems. Socketed gems are supported by level 4 in power. Socketed gems are supported by level 25 faster projectiles. Socketed gems have 3.5% critical strike chance, and this is actually an essence mod. Socketed gems have 16% more attack and cast speed, and this is also an essence mod. And then socketed spells have 90% to critical strike multiplier, which is an influence mod. And lastly, this projectile's pierce is part of the, the Ashling mod that's on it, and projectile speed is from the faster projectiles. So this is pretty much a dream pair of gloves for Spark, in a sense that it doesn't have the slower projectiles, but it still has the damage from level 4 in power, so the projectiles are still super fast. And this is actually just an absurd craft. Like, this is something that would never be possible last league. You would not have the level 4 in power, because this is actually a Sentinel mod, and you also wouldn't be able to have 2 Essence mods on it. So last league, people had to choose whether you want to crit, or you wanted more attack and cast speed, but now you can have everything. So before we start, let's go look at why recombinators and how they actually work, because in order to understand why they're broken, you have to understand how they work. So at the start of the league, even I had some trouble understanding exactly how it worked, and it did cost me a lot in terms of trying to recombine items, because if I knew how it worked, I would have been able to make a lot more items without resorting to so many dumb things that I did. So initially, you have to choose the base for the final item. So say you have 2 items, and then you have to choose the base for the final item, and the final item will have the average item level of the 2 items. So if you have a level 100 item, and then you have a eye level 80, the resulting eye level can be level 90. And now this is pretty nice because for synthesized items, sometimes like a bow with +1 arrow, you want the bow to be 86 in order to roll +2 arrows on the suffix. So this is actually a huge thing, and this allows you to transfer over a +1 power charge Sentinel mod onto a synthesized base with power charge on it already. So first step, it chooses the base for the final item. Now then, it combines all the prefixes of both items into one mod pool, and then it combines all the suffixes into a separate mod pool. So say the first item has 3 prefixes, the second item has 1 prefix, then you'll have 4 prefixes total in the mod pool, and same goes with the suffixes. Now from that mod pool, it will combine the chosen prefixes and the chosen suffixes, and the number of mods that it will choose from the pool is based on these odds. So say in the example above, you have 4 mods in the mod pool, you have a 35% chance for the resulting item to have 3 mods, you have a 55% chance for the item to have 2 mods, and you have a 10% chance to choose 1 mod. And if you have 1 mod on the pool, you have a 66.6% to choose 1 mod, and then 33.3% to get no mods at all. So if you have 2 mods, then you have 33.3% chance to have 2 mods on the final item, and then 3 mods, you have 20% chance to choose all 3 mods. So the more mods you have in the prefix mod pool, the better chance you have to have 3 prefixes on the resulting item. Now, it is important to distinguish that the prefixes and suffixes are done separately. This is something I didn't really understand at the start of the league, in that it doesn't really matter how many suffixes you have if you only care about the prefixes. So after it chooses the mods from the mod pool, the prefixes and suffixes may go down a tier. So if you're trying to combine like a triple T1 Fizz weapon, there is a possibility that one of the T1 flaring, T1 hybrid, or T1 Fizz percent may go down a tier. And after the final item is formed, a new Sentinel mod may be added. I think it's around a 5% chance. And this can only happen if there is actually an open slot for it. So if your prefixes and suffixes are full, then there's going to be no chance for additional Sentinel mod to appear. So you might be wondering why recombinators are so strong, because it seems like a pretty simple process. Well, recombinators kind of break the whole game in the sense that it ignores certain rules. You can create items with multiple fractures on them. So you can have an item with fractured spell suppression and fractured global defenses. You can make items with multiple essence mods on it. So you can have essence of horror, and then the crit essence, and then a more damage essence. So you can also use recombinators to raise the item level of a synthesis base, like I said earlier. So you can make a bow from level 80 to 86. And this is actually a really important thing in that recombinators can be used on corrupted or mirrored items. And this allows you to transfer the mods off to a clean base. So a lot of people in standard, they actually started mirroring a lot of good items like quant items that were super legacy in the past, or amulets with legacy crit multi 70%. And they would try to transfer the items mods onto a clean synthesis base that was insane. So a lot of synthesis bases were destroyed in standard because people kept trying to mirror items and transfer over the mods onto the god tier synthesis base. And if you actually look at the TFT shop, you'll be able to see that there are actually a lot of items that were made from this method. So let's go take a look very quickly at the new items in the TFT shop. Let's go see where it's actually at. So announcements, TFT shop new items. So let's go see. Like items like this, which is a new item in standard, you can see here. This is a 5 fractured item, or 4 fractured item, which is something that just never exists in the past. Now let's see. This is standard. 6 new items in standard. All of these items were pretty much transferred over with mirroring something, or trying to create a multiple fracture base. So look at all of these quant items that were made. So absolutely crazy if you actually have the currency to mirror the items and try to steal the base. And this is also the reason why some of the items are so expensive in terms of the mirror fee, because people are afraid that people will steal the base and transfer it over onto a clean base. But this is actually one of the most crazy items that was made, and this is another 5 fracture item with legacy energy shield mods. So this just creates an insane power spike if you have the currency. Now, a lot of these crafts seem crazy, but they actually require an insane currency investment in order to make. I think the chest that you saw spent like 50 mirrors in order to finish crafting it. Now, recombinators are also extremely strong at making 3 and 4 mod items, like a triple T1 Fizz wand. So like you can see here, this is a 529 Fizz DPS wand, which should almost never exist outside of some shenanigans, and this is only 50x, and that's an insanely cheap price for how high a PDPS of a wand. Like in previous leagues, a 500 PDPS wand would almost be mirror tier. Now, the reason why recombinators are so good is because you can choose to have flaring and dictators, or 2 mods in the pool, and you have a 33% chance to get the base. And then you combine 2 of the bases with 2 mods overlapping, and then you have 4 mods in the pool, and then you have a 35% chance to choose 3 mods. So you have it's very, very easy to make 3 modded items if you start from the base and you do 1 mod at a time. So you have 1 mod, and you try to combine it together, and you have a 33% chance. And then once you have the 2 bases, you go 2 mods with overlapping mod, and then you have a 35% chance to get the 3 mods. So in reality, you're using 6 bases total to get to get a triple T1 prefix, right? So you have a flaring, you roll a flaring one, and then you find a tyrannical or merciless one, and then you recombine it. You have a 1/3 chance, and then you do it again. Flaring dictators and flaring merciless, you have a 35% chance with 4 mods in the pool to get a triple T1 Fizz one, and that's just kind of crazy how easy that is. And recombinators are also a lot stronger than harvest at targeting mods that have no tags like attributes, so you can recombine stuff like intelligence or percent int or percent attributes, and that's something you can do because harvest, you can't actually target any of those mods, because if you look at Craft of Exile, let's go look at it here, there's a lot of mods that have no tags. You can't meta mod craft it, you can't use harvest at all with it, so that's something that's really strong with recombinating. So all of these mods, like in attributes, is not tagged really. So here, a lot of the attribute percent dex, percent strength, percent int have no tags. and percent increase of offerings, gain endurance charge if you've been hit recently. So Recombinators are a lot better in that aspect. Now, Recombinators are also crazy because they can bring over mods that cannot be found on certain bases. For instance, like 100% global defenses and spell suppression on Evolved Regalia. And that just kind of breaks the whole like archetype of the game, like Dex items having spell suppression. So let's go look at this pair of gloves real fast, and how are these gloves actually made? So what this person did was they had a fully crafted Spark glove as a Recombinator base. So this is the original gloves that they used, which is pretty much a mirror tier gloves. And then he got a magic gloves with socketed gems are supported by Empower 4. So this is the only thing he had on it. So if you looked at that, he would have 4 mods in the pool for the prefix. So he has a 35% chance to choose 3 mods. Unfortunately, he only kept Empower 4 in the prefix, so he hit the 4 mods. So he hit the 10% chance to choose 1 mod, which is incredibly unlucky. But then his suffixes, he had crit chance and 16% more attack and cast speed as suffix. So this is called the Brick A. So what this Recombinator thing does is it allows you to create bricks that can later be recombined with each other to make items that aren't bricks. So the guy's like, well, I spent a lot of money, but let's go buy an even better pair of gloves that he can start mirroring. So he bought this pair of gloves, which is better in that it has level 25 faster projectiles, and he decided to mirror it to recombinate it. So he recombined the mirror copy with Mr. Brick A, and this results in another brick. So this time around, he has 1 mod on the prefix still. So he has 4 mods in the mod pool for the prefix, and this time he got Empower 4 and +2 projectiles, and this is a 55% chance. So he pretty much hit the thing that he wanted, and then he got 16% more attack speed and 90% crit multi as a suffix. So what happened here was that he had 2 mods on the suffix and 3 mods on the suffix. So that's 5 mods in the mod pool, so it's a 50-50% chance to choose 2 mods, and that's what he had. So now he decided to mirror the gloves from step 4 again, and he recombined it with this brick, and the brick had 2 mods on the prefix and 2 mods on the suffix. So that meant there's 5 mods in the mod pool. So it's pretty good chances now to choose 3 mods. So he pretty much hit 2 50-50s, and he got 3 mods in the mod pool. And since they're all overlapping, they're going to have all of the good ones. So he pretty much made the end result, which is this pair of gloves. Now, it only cost him around 3 mirrors to craft this monstrosity. And this pair of gloves is just crazy. Now, there's one caveat with this, which is this pair of gloves cannot be mirrored because it chose the base that is mirrored. So when he mirrored the gloves, it decided to choose the base that is mirrored, and it has the mirror tag. That's why this gloves is upside down. So it cannot be mirrored again, and this is a one-off. But I do think that someone else made a pair with slower projectiles instead of the Ashling +2 supported projectile gems, which is actually more damage. And I do think the person got pretty lucky because he did have to hit 2 50-50s, so it's a 25% chance for the last recombine to get an item with 3 suffixes and 3 prefixes. Now, how can the Recombinators be fixed? Because we just saw a scenario that this guy made an item pretty easily, and the easiest way to fix it is you can change Recombinators not to work with mirrored items, so you can't actually recombine items that have a mirror tag on it, and that would make perfect sense, and I don't think anyone would really complain about it. And if GGG wanted to drastically limit Recombinator power, they could add a split tag so you can only recombinate an item once. So you can see here, this is from Fenimel Plague Arachnid, which when you split it or when you use a Fracture Fossil, it gets a split tag, so you can't actually split it again. So what this would mean is that once you get one of these bases and the brick A, it's going to be forever a brick. You can't use the brick A and recombine it again with a mirrored base to make another brick, and then recombine it with another mirror base to finally get the end result. So another thing they could do is they can limit the number of Fracture and Essence mods on an item to 1. It is kind of ridiculous seeing like a 5 Fracture item over here, and it is probably extremely overpowered. So these are just some of the suggestions that could allow Recombinators to make it into the base game without it being completely broken. Now, overall, I do think that Recombinators are kind of complicated to understand what's happening, but once you look at this little graph with the mod pools, it should be a lot simpler. Hopefully, if you didn't know that much about Recombinators in the past, this helped you out a lot in understanding how it actually works. And I do think that there's an extremely important point that a lot of people skim over, is that even though Recombinators are extremely strong, a lot of the crafts being posted on Reddit still require gambling with hundreds of exalts and mirrors of items, right? So it's not like you're actually making items for free, and it's not like it's super cheap to make these crazy items. This base, for instance, we went through so many fractured global defenses and so many fractured point blanks in order to make this. And recombinators are pretty fun. They add in a gambling aspect of crafting that's a little bit different. And the most important thing is that recombinators actually fit Chris's vision. Then this vision is that you can actually find items on the ground and ID it and have it be worth something. So if you can look at my stash tab here, you can see here I have all of these +1 level of all spell skill gems, which I would never really pick up. You can also find items like this one here, another +1 spell skill gem, so not that one, but the wand. And then you can also find glove bases or helm bases with fizz as extra fizz hits taken as fire from the temple mods. So it just creates this thing where it's pretty fun to actually be able to look at all of the potential loot on the ground and have it actually be worth something. Overall, I do think recombinators are a little strong in its current state, but I do think with a little bit of tuning, they can make it into the main game and offer an alternative to crafting that a lot of people enjoy. But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about recombinators and what your experience has been with them in this league. And I hope you find more mirrors, exalts, and mage bloods than me. And see you next time. Bye.